Hello, I'm Dr. Patricia Bloodworth, and I want to thank you for joining me today. As Program Director of the fully online Bachelor of Arts in Organization Leadership program at St. Thomas University, I have the privilege of working closely with adult learners, faculty, and instructional designers as we shape meaningful learning experiences in a rapidly changing higher education landscape. Our program is built around flexibility, innovation, and accessibility, qualities that are increasingly important for adult learners balancing work, family, and education. Instructional design and technology play a vital role in making that possible. Well, I have the privilege of interviewing Ms. Katherine Bandy, Instructional Design Manager here at St. Thomas University. Welcome to the conversation, Ms. Bandy.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Bloodworth.
Great. Now, let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to begin by learning more about your background and how you see the role of instructional designers evolving in higher education today.
Okay, well, a little bit about my background. I got into instructional design when I was a lecturer at Harbin Normal University in Harbin, China. I had a colleague come to me and ask me to develop a curriculum for an English language school for kids. And when I did that, I got inspired to go back to school, get my master's degree, and I ended up getting it in instructional design and technology.
And lucky for us, we have you here at St. Thomas University.
Yes. And so a little bit about what I think about instructional design, what it is. So I think that there's a difference between instructional design and instructional technology. Mm-hmm. And an instructional designer might not know all of the instructional technologies that are out there. They might only work with the specific instructional technologies that the school provides them. Mm-hmm. An instructional technologist is going to be an expert in the technologies. An instructional designer is going to be an expert in learning. Wow. And how to put learning on into a course, how to help a subject matter expert put their content together in a way that is accessible to the learner.
And you have both because your background is education, so we're doubly blessed to have you. Now we're going to talk about just trends and innovations. What emerging trends in instructional design do you believe are most transformative for higher education today?
Well, the emerging trend that is on everybody's mind and everybody's talking about is artificial intelligence. And so I wouldn't be... if I didn't mention artificial intelligence, that would just be a shame. However, I want to focus on discussion forums. Mm-hmm. I think there's a big trend and it's been affected by artificial intelligence, where discussion forums have traditionally been used kind of like a peer review assignment, mm-hmm. and students are using artificial intelligence to answer the prompts. Mm-hmm. And because the prompts are such that they don't have this depth of conversation. It doesn't, the way that discussion forums are currently, from my experience, used, don't really create discussion. Mm. And we are seeing that in articles that are coming out, an article that I wrote, an article that was just brought to the faculty here about discussion forums aren't working the way that we're using them. And that is a big issue. And I think we'll see a trend coming in these coming years where discussion forums are going to be reinvented and used in a completely different way. And students are crying out for it. My students, during our break in class this week, I had students complaining about the way that the discussion forums are set up, and just crying out for, I just want to talk about I want to talk in my own voice, and I want to use my own thoughts. I don't want to have to worry about writing in an academic voice using APA formatting. That's not that's not the place for it. Mm-hmm. And there needs to be, especially with online learners, there needs to be a place where they can just talk. Mm-hmm. and talk with the instructor, talk with each other about what they are learning. And so I think we're going to see a trend kind of taking those discussion forums, because we can't make them the old way anymore because mm-hmm. of the artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to adapt to this new way of thinking about them.
Wow, that's interesting. And being a student also myself, I can relate to everything you're saying. How do you see that looking if we're not just maybe perhaps taking out the criterion of having the references? Do you think that would help?
Right. So one of the things that I like to talk about is high context communication. High context communication is when everybody's on the same page. You've all read the same lecture materials, the same chapter, watched the same videos. You know where the resources are coming from. You know what they're talking about. So why do they need to cite it so
rigidly?
Yeah, rigidly. If we're talking about chapter 3, then we know, okay, chapter 3 is about this, and this is what I got from it. And I think that when we kind of loosen the reins and allow for that high context communication to happen, we'll see that there will be actually more authenticity in students' responses and less, I don't want to call it cheating using AI, but it really, it kind of is. But it's just a way, if we make it more personable, they're going to respond by being more personable. I think we're going to start seeing a call for more human connection the more AI is incorporated into our lifestyles.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's deep, and I look forward to the revolving of discussion boards and everything. With the growth of micro-credentials, competency-based education, and life experience credits, how do you see instructional designers shaping flexible learning pathways for adult learners? And as you know, with the organizational leadership program, we do have it so where the portfolio option, where they can actually build a portfolio, get credit on their life experience. But how do you see that?
Well, I see it not so much the instructional designers shaping the pathways. We are more of the solution. We're the people who offer the solutions. Society dictates the pathways that people can take to showing their expertise. Not in getting education, because people learn all the time, but to be able to show their expertise, show that they've learned and they know these things. So I think that one of the solutions that's coming with these competency-based education ideas that society is opening up to is that there will be more correspondence-style courses where students can show their learning and get credit for that instead of having to take courses. Or the courses will look more like, here's your textbook, here's your learning goals, jump in and, here's some videos that you can watch, here are the materials for you. Show us what you've learned. Show us how you've applied this.
So more like asynchronous, in a sense.
Asynchronous it can be instructor-led, but it can also be self-paced. And so correspondence is a little more self-paced, where the learner is more in the driver's seat. And the grading and facilitation of the course is, the faculty is in the passenger seat and just waiting for the learner to show them what they've learned.
Like a facilitator of learning.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
But they still have to make the videos and lecture materials. Like, I'm not saying that the faculty is going away anytime soon.
Right.
There still needs to be those learning objects.
Like a guide on the side, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay, can you share an example of how you successfully partnered with a faculty to redesign a course or program for online or hybrid delivery? I'm laughing because you do that all the time, but go ahead for the sake of our conversation.
So the one that I've chosen is a course that I did with this program director who was kind of thrown into the fire. There was a program that needed a lot of work on a lot of the courses. And so it was like drinking from the fire hose. And so that was right when ChatGPT really started, people started exploring its uses and seeing more as a tool, a helpful tool, than something that should be rejected. And so I assisted this program director and this subject matter expert by kind of mapping out, based on the course learning objectives and the textbook chapter readings, mapping out what the course could look like, potential assignment ideas, potential discussion prompts, and things like that. And that gave the subject matter expert something to go from. So it's not like handing a blank sheet of paper to someone and say, okay, go. Instead, it was like, here are the possibilities. What do you think? And when I do that, what I found, and even with this other subject matter expert, I handed over this assignment idea, and the subject matter expert said, this is a good start, and then took it way to a much deeper level. And the students are going to have such a better experience with that assignment than the one that was AI generated. So that's why I say there still needs to be that human component. That AI can get us started, but really the human mind is what's going to take us to that deeper level.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Now let's talk about the adult learner needs. What unique design considerations are required for developing courses for adult learners compared to traditional undergraduate students?
So with design considerations for the more traditional younger students and the older, more adult learning students,
More seasoned.
Yeah. The really one of the biggest differences I notice is the traditional students are much more involved with social media, and that it can be used, like styling the course in a way that is kind of familiar, has that social media familiar, that feel to it, like having them do. I had a professor in Harbin who had his students do TikToks.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
as a way to connect with the students, and also a way to get, he was a foreign language professor, and just a way to get them to use their language. And so I think that's the biggest difference. So when you're thinking of design for if you have the option to make a course more geared to one or the other, the social media aspect of for the traditional students.
Wow. And TikTok and all of that, just, awesome, awesome. How do you integrate principles of andragogy, adult learning theory, into your instructional design practice?
What about Hi Guys book too?
So when we talk about pedagogy and andragogy, I actually lean more towards hodagogy. That all learners are self-directed. That you can have a teacher in front of the classroom, but the students aren't going to learn anything if they don't have any desire to learn it. They can hear you, but it goes in one ear and out the other. And so I think that courses, what we need to really focus on is that student-driven learning. How can we design a course that is going to, because an adult learner is going to be motivated. An adult learner doesn't engage in learning unless they want to learn.
Exactly.
They are hyper-focused and want to get it done. And so really just allowing them to, giving them the tools, like I was talking about, the correspondence courses, giving them the tools, the things that they need to learn to be able to show, to have that knowledge, and say, here you go. Show me that how you learn it. Like, does there need to be weekly assignments, weekly check-ins, or can adult learner just do the lecture materials on their own time, in their own way, apply it in their own way, and then show it at the end?
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, now let's talk about equity, access, and inclusion. How do you address issues of digital equity and access for adult learners who may have competing priorities, such as work and family responsibilities?
School is hard. Sacrifices must be made, and that's it.
Get it done, right?
You've got to get it done. There's no, artificial intelligence has some really cool tools that are coming out that might help expedite the learning process, help digest things a little bit easier, but you still have to, at the end of the day, you still have to study and focus and learn, and you're not going to be doing other things.
Right.
And that's so difficult for a traditional age student to learn, as when they come to college for the first time and the first major milestone back home happens and they can't go back home because they have class. It's a hard thing to learn, and same with adults. If you're going to do higher education, if you're going to do it, it's hard.
Yes, it's hard, but you can do it.
But you can do it.
What strategies do you use to ensure accessibility and inclusive design in online courses?
I am a big fan of universal design for learning. I started using universal design for learning about a year ago, and so now every time I create an assignment, I think about the different learners. So how are the assignments in this course reaching visual learners? How are they reaching kinesthetic learners? How are they reaching visual, audio, all the different types of learners? And so one of the things that I think we should really start steering towards is multiple modes of assignment output, I guess you'd call it. So if a student loves writing papers, have them write a paper. If they love making visual, a visual representation of the concepts, have them do a concept map, have them do an infographic, and then reflect on it. And if there's things like this, what we're doing now, doing a video blog or a podcast or something like that, just allowing them to express their learning in the way that is suitable for them. Do all the students have to do the same thing to show the same learning?
No.
Yeah. And that's universal design for learning.
I love that. I love that. Okay, now let's talk about the future.
Okay.
Future outlook. In what ways do you see AI and emerging technologies reshaping the future of higher education and course design?
A lot of these things, the VR, adaptive learning systems, they come with a price tag. And so it's still not accessible, especially to a school that is caters to, the type of students we get here, the students that this is their first chance at higher education, maybe in their family. And we try to make it higher education accessible to them. And so, yes, price aside, VR is incredible.
Virtual reality.
I have experienced it myself.
I have not, but I love it.
It is revolutionary. I was at Arizona State for a conference, and they took us into their VR lab, and it was amazing, just an incredible experience. So yes, it's revolutionary to learning, but it's also difficult to get it to everyone.
Yeah, one day.
Yes.
What advice would you give institutions building or expanding fully online programs for adult learners?
Oh, of course, I'm going to say listen to your IDs. Listen to your instructional designers.
We have the best here. Thank you very much.
We are always researching. We've got one foot in the present. We know what works now, one foot in the future. We're always looking to see what could work better. And there's all kinds of research that's always happening. I think in the past 5 years, I've read over 300 articles in just researching trends and things like that in the instructional design world, in the world of adult learning. And that's not to mention the books that I read and everything on top of it. So yeah, we're constantly researching. We really know what we're talking about. And instructional, I know that sometimes instructional design to some faculty feels a little bit like it infringes on academic freedom. And those people I want to just sit down with and have a conversation with, because we are a sounding board. We have ideas. We've talked to dozens and dozens of faculty. We've gotten feedback. We know what works, what doesn't work, what might work. And so, it's give us a chance, and because, we're here for a reason.
Yes, we need you. We do. Okay, if you could identify one must-watch trend or innovation in instructional design for higher education over the next 5 years, what would it be?
Artificially intelligence developed course content and textbooks. I think we're going to go that direction.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes. Is that too heavy for your?
No,
Okay.
this is great. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I think, and like I said, I don't think it's going to replace faculty or the need for a subject matter expert. But I think that one of the trends I'm seeing now is the ask. How much can artificial intelligence be involved in course content creation or the development of the content and the textbooks. I believe ChatGPT doesn't hallucinate as much now. It can actually tell you the resource it's pulling from now.
Yes.
And so I actually was just asked that question. Could I write a textbook with ChatGPT? And I said, you have to ask it, where are you getting this information? Because you have to cite your sources.
Yes.
And as long as you can cite your sources, you know where the information's coming from, it can be used as a tool, but we are still navigating the ethics of that. And so I'm not sure where, right now, it's still considered unethical and not a good idea to have ChatGPT just write you a textbook. But I think once we start exploring a little more deeply how it can help streamline the process of creating a textbook. I think it'll help make textbooks more and more open source textbooks out there.
Yes.
And make education more accessible.
Awesome. Wonderful. So as one final question, what advice would you give to aspiring instructional design students? Well,
I've had a conversation recently with someone that thinks that instructional design positions will be overtaken by AI. But I don't think that's right. I think that everybody, especially in higher education, the faculty, the subject matter experts, the instructional designers, we are going to learn ways to use AI to help us do our job and do a better job. But that need for human connection is always there. So if you really enjoy designing learning for anyone, whether you are a curriculum developer for K through 12 or you're an instructional designer for higher education, if that's where your enthusiasm and passion lie, go for it. We're going to be around.
Yes. Wonderful. Miss Bandy, thank you so much. I just really appreciate your time, your expertise, and your knowledge. And I'm blessed to be right down the hall from you. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in. God bless and go Bobcats.